So we've recently had some new Firewall cards announced to be coming into the game at some point. Um, they're nowhere near coming to the TCG, I imagine, but they've been recently announced for the OCG, and they are all pretty good cards. If you know me, you know that I like my Cyberse decks. You'll see a few mathmech profiles and how to play on the channel. So I wanted to quickly talk about these cards, and I've come up with a combo you can do with them, which is pretty good. I did try and record this video earlier on, but Dawning Book has been down, and the consequence of that is that I'm recording this video after getting back from the pub, so I'm a little bit tipsy, so I hope you do forgive any, sloppiness in the replay that you see later on. The first thing I want to say is please disregard the list in front of you. I just want to put 40 cards into a deck with these cards and all of the combo pieces that I needed, so this build is not something you should be practicing with at all. Maybe I'll think about it a little bit more later on and provide an actual deck that you can play these new Firewall cards in. But without further ado, we're going to get into the new cards. So we're going to start off with Firewall Defensor, which is probably the best card that was announced. I've taken this text directly from Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization. So you're going to use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material for a Cyberse monster, very easy to do. You can special summon one Firewall monster from your deck except another copy of himself, and you cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except Cyberse monsters. So a very strong effect. It allows you to get into this guy, Firewall Phantom. Now, Firewall Phantom is a level 5, so you can't normal summon it, so you'll be special summoning it pretty much exclusively off of, there goes my phone. You can say I'm not very prepared for this video. Straight off of Defensor. So again, harder one to return on both of its effects. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material for a Cyberse monster, you can add a Signet spell trap from your deck to your hand, then discard one card. We all know there is a lot of good targets for this. The ones I'm going for are Signet Mining. Of course, you can play more than one of this in an actual build. I just want to put the card into the deck. Again, ignore the list. It's completely useless. You can also search Signet Fusion and Signet Ritual with this card. As a second effect, you can bash this card from the graveyard during the end phase of this turn and shuffle one Cyberse monster from a graveyard into the deck. I guess that could come up if you needed to get something back from the extra deck, maybe, like shuffle back a Splash Maze so you can use it again. I did actually talk about the second effect of Defensor. So Defensor does actually have a second effect. If a Firewall monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can bash this card from the graveyard instead. So it's basically a Salamander Phalanx for Firewall monsters, which is pretty cool, especially considering it's a starter, so it should always be in graveyard, so it can protect from stuff like Gamma and Ogre and that sort of stuff, which is pretty strong. Next up in the new cards, we've got Cyberse Sage, which is a level 1 ritual monster. You can ritual summon this card using Silent Ritual. You can only use the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials mentioned on it from your field and or graveyard, including a Cyberse monster. This doesn't have to fusion summon a Cyberse monster, but since you are locked in to Cyberse monsters from Defensor in the combo, we are going to be going for a Cyberse fusion monster, which I will show you in a moment. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, since it is a level 1 tuner, which I didn't put on the custom card, but it is a tuner, you can target a Cyberse monster or ritual spell in your graveyard and add it to your hand, which is pretty strong. And obviously it also mentions Silent Ritual, so you can search it with pre-prep. We'll go on to the last two custom cards that I am, or last three custom cards, sorry, that I am playing. We'll start with the fusion. This is Cyberse Disabworm. It requires one Cyberse Ritual Fusion Synchro Exior Link monster and one Cyberse monster. The following effects are all once per turn. During your main phase, you can special summon a Cyberse monster from your hands. Then you can make this card's level become that monster's, which is pretty strong for XZ players. I'm not doing any of that in this deck, but it is a possibility. And it has the second effect that when your opponent activates a spell trap or effect, and you control a Link 4 or higher Cyberse monster, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard and negate that activation. So it's kind of like Damari, but you can use it in a lot more decks than just at Agnissa, which is pretty good. And special summoning a Cyberse monster from the hand, very strong on something that's quite generic to get out when you can just make it with a Cyberse Sage. I'm going to talk about Protect Code Talker this time. So it's got the stats of a Code Talker monster with 2300, it's a Link 3. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. The first effect is that your opponent cannot target Link 4 or higher Link monsters you control with card effects. Also, they can't be destroyed by battle, which is pretty strong, to be honest. It makes your big boss monster very difficult to out, which is always a good thing. If you control a Firewall Link monster, quick effect, you can banish any number of Link monsters from your graveyard whose total Link ratings equal exactly 3 and special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. So basically, you can make it, link it off, and you can summon it back either during your turn or during your opponent's turn. Pretty strong. And the final monster we need to talk about is the boss monster. So this is Firewall Dragon Singularity. So it's 3500, it's a Link 6. I mean, Link 6s are cool, I guess. And you're going to use each of its effects once per turn. So the main effect that we're going to be talking about here is quick effects. You can target cards your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to a number of different types of monsters, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, or XZ, you control and in your graveyard and return them to the hand. And if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each card returned. So in the combo, I'm going to show you how you can make a Firewall Dragon Singularity off of one card, who is going to end up being 5,500 attack and with 4 bounces on field and in graveyard, which is a pretty strong disruption effect for this format because you can just bounce the tier monsters back to hand and then they don't get their fusion summons, which is pretty okay. Second, if a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, you can target a Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which means that you can use this as a pseudo combo piece, I guess. Like you can make Firewall Dragon Singularity, link some monsters below it, and then get a special summon back, like you used to be able to do with the original Firewall Dragon, except you had to bounce it hand and a special summon it from hand. But this kind of does a very similar thing. So those are all the new cards that I'm actually using. There was another spell and trap, but I don't think they're all that great. Let's get into the combo. So it is technically a 1-card. Ooh, we need to... Can you tell I've been drinking? We need to quickly refresh this page. Ignore this little bit for a second because I cannot be asked to edit this video. So we're quickly going to skip through, and it's going to be Firewall Defender plus 2 discards. So we're going to start by normal summoning Defensor, and we're going to make it straight into a Lingaribo. This is going to trigger our Defensor to special summon a Phantom from the deck. From here, we can link off the Lingaribo and the Phantom to go into a Cyberse Witch. This is going to trigger the Phantom to allow us to add Signet Mining and then discard a card. We're then going to use Signet Mining, discarding another card to search for a mathmech Circular. We can use Circular, sending a copy of Nabla from the deck to the graveyard and special summon Circular to a zone Cyberse Witch points to, which is going to allow us to banish the Signet Mining in our graveyard and add a copy of Cyberse Sage and Signet Ritual. From here, we can use the Cyberse Witch effect, since we've triggered its first effect, to special summon back the Nabla. We can then use Nabla's effect to special summon an addition from the deck. Since a mathmech was special summoned, we can use Circular's effect to add a copy of Super Factorial. From here, we are going to link off for a copy of Cyberse Wicked and use Signet Ritual, getting rid of the Circular to summon Sage. This is going to trigger Wicked, banishing a mathmech monster or a Cyberse monster from the graveyard to add a copy of Barura. We can then use the effect of Sage, banishing 2 Cyberse monsters from our graveyard, including a Link monster, to make Disabworm. We don't actually want to banish the Link over here, and I will correct that later on, but we'll keep going from now. So Disabworm is going to special summon this copy of Barura, and Barura can use his effect to send a Chi-Chi to the graveyard. We can then link with our Cyberse Wicked and our Barura to make a Splash Mage and special summon back this copy of a Chi-Chi. This gives us a level 3 Synchro opportunity, so we'll take that and make this copy of Cyberse Integrator. Now, if you haven't seen this card, it says if this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon a Cyberse tuner from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Cyberse monsters. We're already locked into Cyberse monsters. So we're going to use this effect, and we are going to special summon back a monster, and we're also going to use the Ritual to add back Addition. So we're going to summon back this Barura, and then we can use Addition, because we haven't used the effect of special summon this turn, and we can use that to synchro with our Barura to make a Wind Pegasus. This is going to trigger Barura, which allows us to special summon back this Addition once more, since it was used as a synchro material, and then we can link our Splash Mage, again, a little bit tipsy, so making mistakes, Splash Mage and our Link monster to go into a Protect Code Talker. And then we can link the rest of the board to go into a copy of Firewall Dragon Singularity. Do we have any other effects that are coming here? I don't believe so. I think we're just looking at graveyard and such. We're putting back the Lingaribo and banishing the Defensor instead, because we can use the Link Freeze effect if we banish a Link 1 and a Link 2 to special summon itself back. And then we're going to set this copy of Super Factorial. So the end board here is we have Singularity, which at the minute has a Ritual Fusion and a Synchro in the graveyard. So at this point it can bounce free, but since we have Super Factorial, we can actually go into Repletion in our opponent's turn to send one from their Monster Zone, Spell Trap Zone, and from their hand, which will allow our Firewall Dragon to actually bounce 4 and gain 2,000 attack. The Protect Code Talker is also protecting the Firewall, as be the name, from targeting and from battle destruction. It's not currently being protected from being destroyed by card effects, except we don't have the Defensor because we banished it. Maybe there's another card you could banish. I'm not entirely sure. I had to fix it on the fly. But if you could keep Protector in the Protector, you can keep, what's his name? Defensor in the graveyard. You could technically banish that to protect your Firewall Singularity. However, apparently in this combo I banished it. I don't know if there's another card you could banish. There may very well be. Obviously, we also have in graveyard the Cyberse Disabworm, which has the effect that when your opponent activates a spell, trap, or effect, and you control a link for a higher Cyberse monster, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard and negate the activation. So we have a spell trap negate in graveyard, as well as the Wind Pegasus, which when a card is destroyed, you're going to get to spin something, which is pretty strong. So all of one card, we've managed to go into a bounce 4 with protection, a spell trap negate, and a bounce, and potentially even more protection, as well as mathmech Super Factorial. So I really do think these cards are really quite strong, and I think given a little bit more time, we can definitely make some really, really strong combos with these cards. And I'm definitely going to be looking into them more when I read even more into the Cyberse pool. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe. I'll definitely be uploading some more content soon. Still going to get that Labyrinth profile from Billy. I promise you, I know Billy's listening, and I know you're going to record the video better than last time with all the glare. Sorry for all the rambling. I am pretty drunk, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye.